Okay, so the purpose of this little video, Mark has suggested we do a what's in the bag comparison.
For beginners.
Yeah, two amateur photographers with less than 100 subscribers. Well, actually, we do this as a hobby, and I've just discovered that Mark enjoys photography as well, so thought it would be a good idea to actually just see, what's in your bag, what's in my bag.
Well, I suggested it.
Why are they different?
Yeah, I suggested it because we're both around about the same sort of level. We've both probably been doing it around about the same sort of time as a hobby, and they're both budget systems.
Okay.
But they are kind of polar opposites of the two ends of the spectrum. So I know with the Red camera, you've gone DSLR route.
Yeah. And
as we was having a little discussion earlier, and as we was discussing earlier, I've gone kind of the rangefinder route.
Okay. So you're going to have to explain rangefinder, because you've given me an overview, but once you get the kit out, you can actually explain what rangefinder is, and perhaps suggest why it might be better than the DSLR route, or is it a preference?
No,
it's a choice.
It's definitely not a pro and like a better or worse system.
Yeah.
I found, for me, that I like the rangefinder style with digital photography, because when I was shooting on film, I found that I liked the 35mm rangefinder cameras.
Okay.
And so I went and found a system which has got the same film. Should we do this? Are we going to do this at the same time?
Might as well.
Yeah.
I have a bag and he has a bag.
So, yeah. Well, originally I started with one of these, which is, and I still use it now, which is just a small little 3-pocket bag. It's great, and you can chuck it in and go anywhere. And then I've now upgraded, like yourself, to a proper camera bag.
You're not even going to say brand names or anything, are you?
I don't even know what brand it is, I'll be honest with you.
SDDI.
SDDI.
And I'm not even going to put a link in the description.
It's great, I love this bag, it's so good. Whoever SDDI are, they make a really nice
So
bag.
you've got a section here.
Section, little front pocket, I assume, to put your papers and bits and bobs and your amazing photos in. I've got my tripod on the side, just a budget tripod. I'm not even going to get it out. It's like probably 15, 20 quid, something like that, off of your generic.
And it's a funny thing, because until you could splash out on like 100 quid tripod and 120 quid bag, and then think to yourself, oh, this photography is not for me after 3 months.
Yeah.
So actually, in terms of, well, is this going to work for me? Let's just get the gear that represents what the photography is.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of expand.
Yeah. I got this just because, I didn't have a tripod, and some, like, particularly landscapes, you're gonna need a tripod at some point.
Yeah.
So I don't have the budget to go out and spend sort of 100, 200. The crazy amounts you can spend on photography gear.
When you can buy an entry-level camera off eBay for 200 quid.
Yeah. So, I got that. It does its job. Hopefully, as I get better, maybe I'll upgrade. Although, the style of photography I use, to be honest, I use a lot of handheld. I don't use it very often. Yeah. So what sort of... Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Like, what sort of photography do you like to do? Have you got a preference? I know, because your channel is mainly landscape, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that you solely landscape?
No, I've said in several videos now that actually I'm a photographer of things. Because
objects.
Something will catch my eye. I'll go down to Lyddon Race Circuit one day and I'll see all the old classic rally cars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is great. Take some pictures. I'll go over to Headcorn, take some pictures of some aeroplanes.
Yeah.
And then the next breath, or the next shootout, I'm down at the coast, getting landscapes, getting the white cliffs. So it really, whatever takes my eye. I don't think I've found my niche yet.
But yeah,
I do like that. I do like the idea of street photography, though.
Yeah, see, that's...
I'm a little bit bashful in as much as how far am I allowed to go without invading someone's privacy? Would you like to pose for me?
Yeah,
love?
I think if you're at their bedroom window, I think you've probably crossed the line.
When non-cleaning windows, the lady at number 43, she said.
So,
but yeah, I haven't found a niche yet.
Yeah.
I'm still, and my channel is all about an amateur photographer, a hobbyist photographer, just getting out, taking pictures, and actually learning.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just getting out there, the adventure, being out to do the one thing. Anyway, you're going to show me.
Well, I picked. The reason I asked is because I picked this. One of the reasons I picked this is because of the type of photography that I like.
Okay.
Not necessarily what I do, but what I like. So my two favourites are landscape and street photography.
Okay.
They're the two that are really. So they're the two that when I decided I was going to get into photography, that's what I try and do. So I do those two. So I've got here. I'll put this down here. So people can see.
This.
I've got here.
Look, he's got an Instamatic. No, sorry.
No, guys, it's smaller than that.
Wow.
I've got that. That's it's a Fuji XE2.
Okay.
And I got that second hand off of eBay for £160.
And how old is this?
XE2 is probably what 2012, maybe a bit later, maybe 2014, 2015. Okay. So yeah, not new.
Not far off from mine actually.
Not new by any chance. But I love it. It's a rangefinder style. It's not a rangefinder because it's digital, but it's a rangefinder style. It is tiny, which I love because you can put a lens, and it has got interchangeable lenses.
Okay.
That just like your DSLR basically.
Is it mirrorless?
It's a mirrorless camera, yeah. And I like it because it's got all the old buttons and dials.
So you've got exposure compensation?
Exposure compensation. That's your shutter speeds.
Okay.
So it's all sort of old style. Selecting, so there's your bulb, working your way up, and then right through to auto. All of the dials and buttons on the back they're basically all kind
of things you'd be familiar with on the DSLR.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. You can set back these all up as well.
Focusing and
your locks. But with the Fujis, because they've gone down sort of the old-fashioned style route with the dials, the majority of their lenses have got the aperture ring on the lens.
Okay.
Which I really like personally.
So the newer models, it's all controlled on the lens?
No, it depends what lens you've got. Some lenses have the ring, some don't have the ring.
Okay.
But you can use, if it's got it, you can actually use both. You can use the one on the back, or you can use the one on the lens. Depends which you prefer. Me personally, if it's got it, I like it on the lens. There is one other thing. After the XE2, they got rid of this. It has to be separate. But this one, cool little function. Little flash, which is great because you can. I think the Sonys do this as well. They're movable, so you can kind of flick your finger on it, and then you can kind of bounce. But it's quite a nice little touch. I know the later ones they haven't got it. They've got one that comes with the camera.
Lens.
Goes on the hot shoe.
Flash.
Other features. This is obviously your manual and your focusing selection, so you can go to manual focus. Autofocus bits on the front.
Have you learnt all these little bits and bobs yet?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Weirdly, which is possibly the opposite to yourself, you've kind of learnt from auto and then gone backwards.
Yeah.
I've gone from manual and gone forward. So I'm starting to learn the auto side of things. Because
like the DSLR, I would imagine that also does semi-automatic. In other words, I can set an aperture, but the camera will do the speed and the ISO or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I love this. I love it. It's small, pocketable, and it's just I like holding it.
Yeah. It's almost like having a compact camera.
Yeah.
Did Canon do a GX7 or something or other?
Okay.
But it's all got one lens in it.
Yeah.
People use it as a vlogging camera.
Yes.
But
there's quite a few of them on the market now.
This is proper like professional stuff, though. It's not a vlogging camera, is it?
No, well, it's...
I suppose you could use it as one.
Yeah, I think people tend to use this for stills because it's not got a flippy out screen, so for that sort of thing.
Okay, sure.
But it does record video. You can use it for video if you want.
Tell me about lenses then. Is there a max or a minimum? You can have a telephoto 400mm if you want.
If you want, it's on the Fuji X system, so you can go right up to crazy lengths.
Okay.
It will still fit on there. But it is a tiny body,
yeah.
So obviously when you start putting the big lenses on, it's a
yeah.
bit front heavy.
But you've been using this exclusively since you started this as a serious hobby.
Yeah.
So like middle of last year.
Yeah, about then.
Lockdown's done an awful lot for us.
Yeah.
Amateur photographers. What can we do during lockdown?
Okay, let's see.
We can take pictures of our cat.
With our newfound photography skills.
I was expecting my cat to come in here, and I thought you could hold it up and I would go.
Can we do the click thing where we click to a picture? Maybe we could click to a picture of the... Because I've got a cat, but... There you go.
Picture of what? Bug?
Bug. Our cat is called Bug.
Charlie and... So you don't do vlogging yet?
No, I don't do vlogging. Are you
going to do vlogging? Is it something you'd be interested in doing?
Actually, I would really like to do it.
Yeah.
I think we probably subscribe to some very similar channels. So I know you're a big fan of Thomas Heaton, so am I. Mark Deeney, do you watch Mark?
No, I've not got into him. I know of him.
I think it's because I'm starting to learn how to edit photos.
Okay.
And he's very good at
post-processing
videos. I really enjoy watching his.
Okay.
We check that one out.
Yeah.
And there's the one that you were telling about earlier. It does a little skit, so I need to check.
You must check out Gavin Hardcastle, Photo Tripper.
Need to check out his.
Well, it appeals to my wacky sense of humour. So not only does he show you how to do photography, but he fills it with fabulous sketches. I stumbled on YouTube channels because I'm a data analyst, so I'm sat at home during lockdown doing all my data analyst work, and I just streamed some YouTube channels. And on the right-hand pane, there was one or two suggestions for landscape photography, so I just let them run. And I got hooked.
Yeah.
So it was Mads Peters Iversen from Denmark, Thomas Heaton, Nigel Danson, and Henry Turner. Then you had Gary Goff and Mike Brown. So they were the ones that I've kind of subscribed to their channels. There's a few more that I watch, but that it inspired me. If I'm going to do this, I don't think I'm ready to have like a portfolio and a website and sell prints. Maybe I will eventually, but if the pictures get good enough. But most of the time it was all about, I've got a DSLR, which I bought several years ago. I've since upgraded to this one.
Yeah, let's see the red camera, the famous red camera.
But it was a case of, if I can learn to use it properly...
Yeah.
Then maybe I can put a channel together that follows my journey, if nothing else.
Yeah, well, what I liked when you first started doing it, what I liked was the fact that you was going from scratch, from the beginning, and it's kind of you documenting as you learn.
Yeah.
So you one of your first videos, you was like, I don't really know what I'm doing with like the aperture here.
What's ISO?
Yeah.
Increasingly shitty outcome.
Or your field of depth, as you keep calling it.
It is. It's field of depth. I may be the only one that calls it field. This is my DSLR. It's a Nikon D3200. So it's the second release of their entry levels that started with the D3100. I think there were earlier models, the D50 and such and such. And I still am none the wiser. But the previous one I had a 14 megapixel image.
Right.
This is 24 megapixel, so it's quite good.
Yeah.
And I think there are better ones out there.
See that I thought I was going to go like Nikon. I thought I was going to go the Nikon route. or Nikon, sorry.
Well, yeah.
Nikon.
You say tomato.
I thought that's what I was when I was looking at cameras and I really want to get into photography. And that's what I kept looking at. I felt like I was a Nikon person.
Okay.
And as we was having a chat before we started filming about how we got into photography, and I got into it with 35mm. I started with film.
Okay.
Because I wanted to teach myself how to shoot a photograph and not how to use software and like digital stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd work that way, which is how I ended up with the Fuji. Because I found that when I was shooting on film, I liked the rangefinder style, like a rangefinder style camera, rather than an SLR style camera. So before I became like a hobbyist photographer, this is the camera that I wanted. This is the one that I looked at in the shops.
Okay.
So I want one of these. I want the Nikon D some numbers. And that's the one that I wanted. So the red camera is what I wanted. But what I ended up with, weirdly, is the Fuji.
Okay.
And and I love it. I love Fuji. I love cameras basically.
And it's a funny thing because, as we spoke about earlier, branding. If you become familiar and comfortable with a brand, you tend to advocate it. So if someone said, "What camera should I get?" Let me recommend the Fuji.
Yeah.
Let me recommend the Nikon. Because it's what you're comfortable with. And I dare say that if I was to pick up a Canon, I'd probably be blown away by it.
Yeah.
And all the power it has. But I'm so comfortable with this now. I've been using it a year, and I know all the intricacies. It still baffles me. Yeah. I'll still be like, should it be f11? Well, hang on a minute. What is my field of depth?
Your field of depth.
Do I need some focus in the front? Oh, hang on. Maybe I should use shutter priority and make it 1,000th of a second. So I'm still learning, and that's part of having my channel, is that I can go back to my previous videos, and I've got them all up here. I know which ones I failed on. And I can go back and say, you know what?
I should have done this.
And I've heard it said that you should revisit locations that you've been to previously to take photos again, not only because the vista changes, you're in a different season, so you've got more trees, that kind of thing, but I guess on my part I will have learnt how to take a better photograph than I did the first time round. I'd like to think.
So how does your Nikon differ from my Fuji?
Well, everything is done kind of electronically on the back screen, so I can set my programmable modes to say shutter priority.
Right.
And then I will use this dial to say what speed I want.
Oh, okay, so that's similar to the dial on, I don't know if that's in shot, that's similar to the dial on the back.
Yeah, I've got you both on. But you were showing me this dial, and you're saying, well look, I want it to be at 250th of a second.
Yeah.
You would set it and it's locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can change it. If you want, you can set that button. I imagine, can you do the same on yours? Can you prioritise buttons to do certain things?
I can set it to shutter priority. So I've got my 4 programmable autos modes that I can use.
Right.
So I've got auto.
Yeah.
Auto without flash.
Yeah.
Then you've got these settings, so portrait, landscape, children, sport, nature, and night shoot. They're semi-automatic. The camera basically does everything.
Preset type
They're
things.
presets, yeah. So if I'm doing night shoots, if I set it on that, it's still automatic.
Right.
Because I'm not thinking about it. It's just doing it. So part of me picking up this whole camera thing was, how can I learn how to use this manual aperture shutter priority or programmable?
Okay, so with this style of camera, so if you're new to photography, and you're coming from, say, a phone, which a lot of people are, then this style of camera might be like a nice transition, because a lot of phones have like these semi-auto, semi-manual setups. If you go into like the settings on it, with like your dial you've got on there, that might be quite a nice transition.
I didn't even know that I could do that kind of stuff on the phone.
Yeah, I think some of them.
I think you can.
You
kind
can
of
do,
press
you
and
go
hold
like,
the screen, and you do all sorts of things. But I was just pointing and clicking.
Yeah.
You know, there's a shot. And actually, the convenience of that, just for catching a shot really quickly. But you're right, that they do have these settings.
Yeah, so that's sort of not just with Nikon.
But
I think Canon are the same. So
I
going that, it's quite a nice.
I wouldn't have known
transition.
how to do those. So this was all new to me,
Yeah.
and I kind of in that respect, this exists here but doesn't exist there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really don't know about ISO. And I was up at the South Foreland Lighthouse when I did one of my Dover shoots, and it was pouring with rain at the end, and I couldn't get a good shot with this because it was like, oh, I've got to put it away, it's going to get wet, blah, blah, blah. So in the end, I just went click, and I took it, and then,
Perfect.
and because of, well, it was, but when I do the little moniker thing at the bottom, F whatever, this speed, that other, and the phone had done something like f1.3 at ISO 2.8, and it was like all the lowest things that I can't even get on here.
To on there, yeah.
But it was doing it all, and the picture was a lovely shot. I'll show you that picture now. And that was taken on the phone. It was crazy.
See, that might be why when I found Fuji, when I was looking at cameras to buy, because I taught myself a couple of years ago using film because I wanted to learn. Well, obviously, when I started looking at these type of cameras, they've got these like the presets, but that didn't really mean anything to me. Whereas when I started looking at the Fuji stuff, because I wanted to, the stuff I'd learnt from the film cameras that I was using, translated. Because they had shutter speed settings, aperture settings, and like your ISO settings, and they're the three things you kind of change. So I found it easier when I was looking at that, going, oh yeah, I kind of understand that. Yeah. That kind of relates to the camera that I've kind of been teaching myself on.
Okay.
So that might be why I found the Fuji system.
Yeah, because your transition from that camera to this, or that system.
Yeah.
And in fact, this is still how you're controlling your image, the same way you were doing with the 35mm camera.
They both do exactly the same.
Yeah.
But we both kind of come at it from
and
different ends.
And the way this offers me control for an image is not how... I'm sure I could pick that up.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'd understand it. But
I think both, you can control both exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I maybe, I don't know.
Function button.
Yeah, maybe if I go in there, they've got preset stuff in there.
Yeah.
But I think because we've both come from different systems...
It might be because I've got a big lens.
Lenses, I haven't...
Let's see what lenses you've got.
So now, this is where it's going to differ. Do you want to talk the viewers through... is it just the 3 lenses you've got?
Yeah, I've only got the 3. Okay. This is the kit lens. This comes with the camera.
Right.
It's your 18 wide angle to 55. So 55 being what the normal people can see. Or 50mm, is that? That's why they have a nifty 50. It's usually what the human eye...
Yeah, I think it's around 40 to 50, somewhere around there.
So they probably provide a kit lens. So that came with that. I then got myself a 300mm, so this is 70 to 300mm, so that I had at least some kind of zoom facility. Yeah. Sigma, it's a lovely lens, and the reason I bought Sigma is because it's cheap. I could get a nice Nikon for 500 quid, but the camera cost me 200, so this is photography on a shoestring, people.
When I first started looking at cameras, I thought it was all about the body.
Yeah.
And I've now learned it's not, is it? It's all about the lenses. And I've also found that's where they cost.
Oh yeah, they
really
do.
Source.
Yeah.
Really
and actually
source.
A low quality lens, and this is probably why my images are not that good. Yeah. But I'm learning. If I fork down on a really expensive lens, I think I would be blown away by the quality. Yeah. It'd be like, you silly boy, you've wasted so much money on these cheapos.
I don't think so. I think 90% of an image is what you see and capturing it.
Yeah.
And then
the person takes the picture, not the camera.
Exactly.
So I had the kit lens,
Yep.
which gives me more or less wide angle at 18, but stops at 55.
Yep.
I then can pick this up, and that's 70mm to 300. So I've got a zoom,
Yeah.
but there's nothing in between the 55 and the 70. I've not got that middle range. So I thought, well, let's have some investigation. And there is a Nikon lens that does 18 to 300, so it covers both of those in one.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of sourcing one of those, but in the meantime, eBay again. I got this Tamron, £130, 18mm.
Yeah.
So I've got the widest angle that I can to 270. So almost all of these in one lens, and this has become my lens of choice. I'll go out with my day bag wherever I put it, same as you've got, and I'll just leave that on there. I won't even bother taking them out.
But it's quite heavy, isn't it? Carrying it all around.
Well, that'll go to 300mm, but that's 270, and
Yeah.
I don't think I'm at a place where I'm always taking it at 270. I'm here, or I'm a bit there, or So I've kind of got the range with that. So this is my lens of choice, 18 to 270, and it's serving me well for the time being.
Here I've got 4 lenses, maybe 5. This is the one I've probably used least, and this is a 135 prime lens.
Okay.
Now this is a Minolta lens.
Oh.
This is all of mine bar one are vintage lenses. So this is an old Minolta.
It's not autofocus.
Not autofocus, manual focus, manual everything.
Yeah.
135mm Minolta lens. And to use that, hopefully I'll put it in. Obviously I have to get an adapter. So
what is this? If it's fixed at 135,
so it's fixed to 135.
what is this zooming in and out
That
then?
is your focus ring.
Oh, okay.
So if I put that on, I've adapted it. So that there now is an adapter ring. So it goes from the Fuji X mount to the old Minolta.
Oh, okay.
Sort of.
It's not like a ×2 or anything
No,
like
it's
this.
literally just a tube, which has got the right distance between the sensor and the lens.
So can you actually buy, if you had any lens, if you wanted to use a Nikon lens or Nikon, you could buy an adapter that would do that?
Yeah, I believe that most lens systems have got, you can get an adapter to go from one to the other. So in theory, you'd probably have to check this. There should be a lens adapter that I'm
sure someone will leave a comment.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully they'll be able to tell us. And then I just put that on there.
Okay.
It's got it just like so. There's your focus ring.
Yeah.
Then you've got your apertures there.
Oh wow.
It has got a second one. Now this is kind of like, so you can kind of set it and then it will only go.
Oh, it's like a locker thing.
Yeah.
That's clever.
To be honest, I find it a bit annoying because it's so. You knock it and
you don't realise
you don't realise you've done it. I think it's very good for. I think whether they do use it for film. I know lots of film cameras have these, so you can set your final aperture, so you can then.
Yeah.
Silent. But I don't know. I very rarely use this one. I got it because I needed something longer. So that's my.
But if you're doing your street photography, that's going to be a good lens for that, isn't it? So that you're not too obtrusive and up in someone's face.
But I quite like the street photography having that bit of interaction. Probably my favourite lens that I use, again, is a Minolta lens. I like Minolta because they're cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are very good quality. And that is my Nifty 50. This one is actually a kit lens. It used to come with sort of the Minoltas from the late 70s through to sort of the mid 80s.
Gosh.
And it is a great lens, and it also, so that's my 50mm, and this is a 28mm.
Oh, so you got yourself a nice little wide angle lens.
Nice wide angle lens, that one.
Yeah.
I've still got the box for that at home with the original price sticker on it, and I think it's probably from, again, late 70s, early 80s, and I dread to think how much it actually was, because
when it was first,
it was $69.99 on the sticker,
from the 70s.
From the late 70s.
I'm going to do a currency conversion.
We need to do a currency conversion.
And it will be on the screen
and I'm
now.
guessing it was probably equivalent to a fair few £100
in today's money.
Yeah. And I got it was still with a box, it came with that, and I got it for, I think it's £11 off of eBay.
Because people don't actually either don't realise how much they're worth, or think this is old stock, don't need that, let's flog it.
And when I bought it, the guy said, everyone obviously missed this one. He said, you've got yourself a really nice little lens for £11.
It looks it as well.
I actually still use this one more, because I like the focal length on it. This is really nice for portraits. Because of the sensor in it, it's not 50mm, I think that's equivalent to about 75-ish.
Because it's full frame, so it
so because this is a crop sensor, and that makes your 50mm about 75.
Okay.
That makes this one about 40 something, 43, 44.
Oh, okay.
That one I can't remember because I haven't watched that one out. But it does. Going back to what you were saying on the autofocus, because this one works exactly the same as this. It's all manual focus. The aperture rings are the same.
Yeah.
The focus rings are the same. Literally, I just pick it up, swap it over. This gives me a nice wide angle, sort of nice enough for a nice wide angle.
Are you going to use that for landscapes then, or would you use this?
This I think is probably better for landscapes because you can fit more of the image in.
Okay.
This is really nice for portraits, surprisingly. You can get some really nice portraits. Maybe I can send a couple through, you can put them up for the viewers so they can, can have a look at one or two. Another picture of Bug, maybe.
Absolutely.
So that's my vintage. These are my lenses. These are my 3 equivalent to your 3.
Okay.
So again, both come in from opposite ends.
It really is. This looks kind of foreign to me.
Yeah.
It almost. I mean, you're talking vintage lenses, but it looks like vintage gear. And I know this isn't vintage gear.
No, I think that's why I ended up with the Fuji system.
Because the D3200 came out in 2012.
I think this came out in 20. It's around that sort of time. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe a little bit later.
Where's the rangefinder on that then?
Well, it would have, if it was an original film camera, you would have had a rangefinder system up here in the top corner. Obviously, being digital, it works exactly the same.
So
as yours.
you're looking through here.
I'm
it's coming through there.
Well, yeah. What I see is from the sensor in here.
Okay.
So yours works via the mirror, so you see through the lens.
Yes, that's right.
I've got an electronic viewfinder in here.
Okay.
So basically a small version of what's on the back of your camera is in the eyepiece.
Shouldn't be doing this, but yeah, look, I've got the little mirror.
Yeah. See, I don't have that because I've gone,
goes through there.
which is where they get the term mirrorless from. Obviously, my one doesn't have the mirror.
This is like one of the World War II periscopes, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Looking over a wall.
Yep. That's the difference between the two kind of systems. Shall I show you my final lens?
Yeah.
Now,
let's see how big it is.
I literally got this about 3 days ago.
Okay.
And I've brought myself into the modern age now.
Okay.
Because this is my first Fuji lens. And it's this, I'll show it to the viewers. It is a Fuji X mount lens, and it's the 27mm pancake lens. So show that there.
Never heard of that.
So again, it's a prime lens. There's no zoom. Let's take this one off.
It's so tiny.
And it is really.
It begs the question:
really
why do
tiny.
we need all of this?
So
it does.
I don't even know. See, I don't even know where the dot is to put it on correctly. And that is my 27. And there we go. I'm in the modern age now. Autofocus.
Oh, really? Semi-press the button.
Yeah. Some little squares come up on the screen and shows me where to focus.
Do you use the LED screen, or are you just looking through the viewfinder when you do that?
To be honest, I nearly always use the viewfinder.
Okay.
Yeah, I almost never use the screen. I find it really awkward using the screen on the back. I like to hold it up like a camera.
I love that it just has 27 on it.
Yeah.
It can't do anything.
You can't do it, that's it. You're set.
It's great. So you're just going to focus
Yeah.
But you're always at 27.
Always at 27, just the same as these vintage lenses.
Yeah.
It's a prime lens. It's something I've discovered that I really like. I like the prime lenses. I feel like I probably should have a zoom lens at some point soon.
Well, that's kind of, 135.
Yeah, well, the good thing with yours is you can, like with your new favourite lens, you can take that and you don't need to take anything else.
Yeah.
Because you've got... Whereas mine, I have to carry all the lenses and you have to change the lenses.
So this could be a specific setup if you know that you're going out to do street photography and you only want the 50mm prime.
Yeah.
You don't need to take all the gear, do you? You're just going to put that on the camera, out you go.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do some landscape, certainly 27, but you could also do a panorama with the zoom, couldn't you? Where you
exactly.
But to get the specific,
Yeah. A lot of people like this particular lens for street photography. One, because it's so small, and obviously because of the crop factor, it's roughly 43mm, I think. Okay. That's what they're saying. So it's roughly equivalent to 43mm, which again is roughly around sort of the human eye. Yep. So people apparently quite like this lens for street photography because it's so small. You kind of no one really pays attention to you. Plus, you get to see some of the background. But it does mean you have to get quite close to your subject. So,
some guy reading a newspaper, and you're like,
if you want to get a shot of something, you have to get quite intimate.
And actually, you can approach people and say, I'm doing some street photography. Do you mind if I take a photo? Yeah. They'll either say yes or no. But if they say yes, they actually will pose for you.
But also, I don't know if you try this with it's also if I come at you like this and I'm getting a photo from here, that's not massively obtrusive, which is why people like the small ones. Whereas if I come at you, say, with your camera and go, can I take your photo, sir?
And then you zoom in like,
then it knocks the coffee out of their hand.
That's right.
So
see, these are kind of good for that kind of photography that's discreetish.
Yeah.
Now, I was down at Dover seafront, and I'll post a picture up here, but this guy was walking his dog, and he looked like ZZ Top. He had this big white, and it was like, I've just got to get a shot of that. And so I was zooming in, because I was so far away from the guy, and it was perfect for that.
See, I would miss all that on my kit.
Yeah.
Because I would have to go and get my lens, and I have to change it over, and then I have to walk.
Mate, come back
and walk across again.
That wouldn't quite work, would it? Oh,
but,
wow.
Yeah, definitely two very different setups.
So let's sum up here. Neither is more superior than the other, in as much as this suits my needs and that suits your needs. And we can both produce images that satisfy ourselves, don't we?
I'm guessing probably very similar quality shots as well. I think you've got more megapixels. I think mine's still on the 16 megapixel. The next version on, it bumped up to 24.
I don't know. Is that good? Is it bad?
I think it's only really gonna. You're only really gonna notice if you're blowing up large pictures.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I don't think
TNT.
Maybe that's how you can end your video.
Well, actually, we will draw it to a close because I think it's probably about 45 minutes going on. My friend Mark here. Hope you've enjoyed that. We've been discussing our differences in our cameras, but the next challenge really has to be, let's get out in the field.
Take some pictures.
Side by side. Tripods in hand.
Well,
and
you can have a try with some prime lenses and give it a whirl. Go back to manual focus.
I'll take one of those with me.
But if we're talking to challenges, can I set you a challenge?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay.
This is unrehearsed.
Okay. I'm going to set you a challenge now. We'll do the clap.
Okay.
This is your challenge.
Oh well. We're going sporty.
Ignore the boxes. They were all that I had lying around at home.
Okay.
Right. In each of these boxes is a camera.
Oh.
Now, as we were saying about earlier, we've come up photography from two opposite ends.
Yep.
You've come from sort of your phone, digital, learning that, transfer it. Because I wanted to learn how to take a photo, I thought, I'm going to learn how to use film.
Okay.
And I've come from that end.
Yeah.
So, when I was looking at photography to start with, and I found the Fuji system, I stumbled across it because I found a style of camera that I liked, which was the rangefinder style of camera.
Yeah.
To do that, I bought a few different cameras.
Oh, okay.
I've got 3 cameras here.
Yeah.
Very different styles, very different abilities of shooting. All of them are film.
Okay.
And I challenge you, sir, to take one of these cameras. I've got a roll of black and white film for you.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I love monochrome.
I absolutely adore monochrome. I've got one roll of 36mm film for you.
36mm.
35mm.
How many exposures?
36 exposures.
That's where the 36 is coming from.
See? Photography expert.
Yeah.
They are all very different. I've picked 3 different types of camera for you.
Wow, film photography.
Yeah. So the choice is yours. Ignore the boxes. The size of the boxes doesn't necessarily determine the size of the camera.
I want
either.
this one, and you're not even going to show me what is in there?
Would
or
you
do I get to see all...
I think you should pick one, and then I'll show you what you could have won.
Oh no, because I might prefer... No, that's a great challenge, it really is. Because then I have to use the camera I choose.
Yep.
And...
one of them is particularly hard to use.
Okay.
One of them you'll be probably fairly familiar with. One of them will be very different to you.
So, ultimately...
it's going to be a learning curve.
Yeah, it will be. But I think what I might do is do a video of me using this.
Yeah, a whole separate video. I think this is your challenge. You got.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to make a choice, and I'm going to go for the beaten up box.
Are you?
I am. I'm going to go for this.
Okay. Did you have a look? See what you've won.
Oh. A little camera that looks like I won't have to do anything.
I'm so pleased you picked this one, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, good. Wow, look at this. And it's got like a... Take a picture, pull it back. I think from years ago, I should know...
I'll show you how to open it.
Okay, we'll go.
Don't break it, it's my favourite camera.
So explain to me what I've got here. I've got a fixed lens.
Yep.
I've got the ability to change the speed of the camera, and I've got a focal or focus ring.
Exactly, yeah.
So all I can do is look through the camera and say, right, it's so far away, and I'll have to focus in. Oh, I can see things are changing there, so that's good. Set my aperture and ISO.
Yeah.
Shall I take 36 pictures?
30.
With this?
The whole film is yours.
Okay.
You don't have to give the others back.
First 5 pictures.
First 5 are yours. Right, what you've got here is arguably my favourite camera, my most favourite camera of all time. This is the camera that I fell in love with, the rangefinder system. Okay. This is a rangefinder camera. So I'll explain it off the screen how to use it. But basically what you've got 2 focusing areas here. You look through one, there's another one. When you line the 2 up, then you're in focus.
Okay.
This is a rangefinder. This is the camera that took me to the Fuji system.
Okay.
I fell in love with using this because it's small, it's light, I like the rangefinder style, and it's got a fixed lens, which is probably why I ended up with fixed primes on my Fuji.
Okay.
This is the camera I fell in love with photography with. It was really cheap. I think I paid about £18 for it on eBay.
Wow.
I had to change the light seals inside of it because the light seals had gone. So it became a little bit of a project for me. You can still get these; they still appear on eBay really regularly. They have gone up in price as people have started using film more. I think they're about £30-40 now.
Is this going to convert me? Am I going to want a film camera as well as my DSLR?
Well, the reason I thought this would be a good challenge for you is in a lot of your videos that you've done, you talk about learning the f-stops and learning about ISO and learning about shutter speeds.
Yeah.
Well, all of this is manual, and so everything that you've been learning on that, you have to apply to this to get a photograph out of it.
Yeah.
So I just thought it'd be a really handy sort of learning curve for you to put into practice on a film what you've been learning on your digital.
Okay.
Because a lot of the terms and things that come from your digital come from film.
Yeah, of course.
So you can apply it to this, and then in theory, you should have some lovely little
What a
pictures.
great challenge.
I look forward to seeing the video.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And with that, we'll end the video. Thanks for watching and bearing with. Like and subscribe if it takes your fancy. And look forward to the challenge and potential other videos where we might go out together and compare rangefinder DSLR in the same location. Bye for now.
Thanks a lot. Bye.